So we got to get you to the top of the mountain. That's like priority number one for you and I.
Man, I've been close to the top of the mountain twice. I've gotten the achievement for seeing my friends escape from the mountain 2 times, and the volcano has claimed me both times.
So
It's tough.
we've been playing this game called Peak, and it's where you climb a mountain and you have your friends and they can pull you up and you all climb together. It's a lot of fun. But you as you said, one game without me, you made it to the very end of it and then perished and watched our buddy Max make it to the top, which is its own level of hell. And then last night we were all playing, and I have to say this about your play style because I really admire it. You are a leader and you are fearless and you look for passages and you play with a very kind of aggressive mindset.
Yep.
And that's been great for the group because you scout ahead and you can test a dangerous jump and you have no problem. And in fact, you really like to test the dangerous jumps.
I do. I do. I love the dangerous jumps.
And for me, I used to play when we first started playing the game. I was very reckless. I was very much carefree. I pretty much spent the whole first couple games we played dead.
As a
I just
ghost.
couldn't get the grasp of like staying safe. And so last night, I remember thinking to myself early on, I am going to let these guys figure out how to climb the mountain and I'm going to be behind them. And if they happen to perish, I will figure it out on my own. I remember thinking that in the first little bit of the game. And we got to the point where we were in it's a big volcano and there's lava all around. You've got to climb up the top of this volcano. And you guys were all doing daring and crazy shit. And you
And
all
you were sitting
died.
in the back, stuffing your
And
face with the cookies, so you
I
had the
was
extra stamina.
I was munching on food and I was making sure that I was prepared for the end of the level. And then the end of the level arrived. And Max, I got to about 75% up the volcano with him. He tried a jump. He didn't do it. It died. And I heroically and freaked out, but I got to the end of the game. And I just want to say that I couldn't have done it without you. Your inspiration on a lot of your jumps and a lot of your leadership was it was invaluable. And now we have to do the same thing for you.
Yeah, I appreciate the kudos, but I would like the accomplishment for myself.
Now, the story of a winning football team who lost everything, and the two fans who had no choice but to keep recording podcasts about them. It's Arrested Development in Chiefs Kingdom.
Welcome in to Arrested Development in Chiefs Kingdom. I'm Austin. Find me on X at Real Bird Lawyer, on Blue Sky at Bird Law Expert. Here with me, as always, my co-host Taylor at Taylor_Wit on X, IASIC on Blue Sky. What's going on, bud?
A lot, nothing. It's fine, but it's so like I could talk about the team that we're about to talk about forever and also never again. And I think either option is totally fine at this point right now. But we're going to do it. We're going to get through it. We were talking before we hit record that it's nice to not be professionally obligated to talk about the team we love. And so we get to do things like change up the theme because it's not always sunny in Chiefs Kingdom because we all know why. So we're Arrested Development now.
You know, it is nice to not have professional obligations, and it's also nice to to have the ability to interact with our fans on a less corporate basis.
Yes.
The fantasy leagues are continuing apace. We love that. We'll probably give a fantasy update here in the next week or two. Love interacting with our fans on Discord and through our email and all that stuff. It's been great. It has not been great through 2 weeks, but that's okay because it will be great again eventually someday. So let's get into Arrested Development in Chiefs Kingdom. We have I, I wrote down news, but that's like a sunny thing. Like
It's like
we gotta,
breaking news. I
yeah,
play a breaking news drop, which we're gonna do,
okay,
and it's
okay.
like the
So we'll have breaking
newscaster.
news. All right,
Yeah.
great. We'll have breaking news. And then instead of the Mac, which is a sunny thing for us to evaluate losses, we're gonna do the Job, GOB, grief, optimism, blame. So pretty much the same basic concept, but different letters and in a different order. And then we have the week 3 preview. Chiefs at Giants on Sunday Night Football for the season? Question
Another setback for the once prominent Bluth family as their frozen banana stand, a Newport Beach landmark, burns to the ground. A delicious whodunit after this.
Well, let's talk injuries, Taylor, because that's what we do in news. It's what we do in breaking news. And we are recording this on a Thursday. We kind of, we took an extra day so that we could play Peak last night. This is another thing that as semi-professional podcasters, we don't have contractual obligations to record on a particular day or for
or ever again.
time or ever again. You guys are getting this for as long as it lasts, and we're going to get real weird with it. So Mike Dana and Christian Fulton, defensive end and cornerback respectively, did not practice on Wednesday, did not practice on Thursday. Looks like they're both trending towards being out on Sunday Night Football. Mike Dana has that quad injury, and Christian Fulton left the game on Sunday with an ankle injury. That is a real bummer because he obviously is not only a linchpin of the Chiefs' plans in the secondary, but he also is a guy that came to the Chiefs with some injury history, and here we are. It's week 3. He's already hurt again.
Yeah, we don't know what this defense looks like with a healthy Christian Fulton, and we're hoping that we will at some point ever in the rest of our lives. Mike Dana in itself is not a huge loss. If you just said, oh, the Chiefs aren't going to have Mike Dana this week, that doesn't seem like a very big deal until you realize what position he plays, and that's defensive end. And you realize that the Chiefs already did not have a pass rush with Mike Dana on the field. So, I mean, addition by subtraction, blah, blah, blah. But like he's a fine player. And to not have him out there is not going to help what is absolutely one of the league's worst front 4 pass rushing units. I mean, it's been just a disaster so far from the defensive line front. And so that injury just is another blow to that already struggling unit.
It's tough. We'll talk more about the application here, but Xavier Worthy, obviously with the dislocated shoulder, wasn't able to go last week, was ruled out on Friday or Saturday, and didn't play on Sunday against the Eagles. He was a limited participant Wednesday, limited participant Thursday. The Chiefs they've been pretty mum about his game status. They did say, Patrick Mahomes said that they had to tamp him back last week. They had to basically keep him from going harder and pushing the play. And they had to kind of rein him in a little bit to make sure he doesn't, hurt himself again. But limited both Wednesday and Thursday. And rookie wide receiver Jalen Royals was a limited participant with that knee tendonitis injury on Wednesday, but he was upgraded to full participation on Thursday. Looks like he will be making his season debut on Sunday. It feels like to me that probably both Royals and Worthy are going to play in this game.
I think so. I mean, Royals obviously with a full participation seems like a guarantee, or at least close to it. Worthy, I don't really trust the Chiefs, and I don't think anybody should as far as what they say. And I mean, that's just the mark of an organization that realizes that they are not obligated to deliver the truth on this type of stuff. Right. They're never, I mean, it does no one any good for the Chiefs to tell everyone exactly how hurt everybody is.
And literally, there are no consequences when they lie about it. Like teams lie about it and get caught lying about it all the time.
Yes. And it just,
remember when Kyle Shanahan lied about Christian McCaffrey's injury, and the backup running back was like, oh yeah, I knew from like Thursday.
They told me I was getting Yep.
There was there were no consequences for that.
None. There never are. There never are. It's an illusion of consequence, and the Chiefs understand that they are going to say and do whatever it is to give themselves, to not put themselves in a position where anyone could game plan more effectively against them. Now, I do obviously believe like a quote from like Pat saying that, Worthy really wants to be out there and he looks good, whatever. I mean, you can always say that type of stuff and be sincere about it. But I kind of, if I were to like have a free bet on this one, would think that Worthy is going to sit out one more game. It was such a significant injury, and he's so small, and it's such a high risk for re-injury. That's everyone's number one concern. And I just don't know if they're going to look at this Giants team and think that they are desperate to have him out there, even though I think if you're a fan or if you're, someone that's analyzed the team,
say that they should be desperate.
It should be all hands on deck. I don't know. I see the Chiefs playing this with a little bit more kid gloves than what they're letting on, but we'll find out. I mean, obviously if they call him good to go for Sunday, he better damn well be good to go. He better be, I don't know. I don't want him out there. The sling thing is also extremely weird to me. How in the world can you have a sling with your shoulder and play wide receiver in the NFL? How's that even physically possible?
I don't know.
Is he going to raise his right arm? Like,
Sure. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, he was making one-handed catches with his right arm like 3 days after it happened. So,
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. We'll see if he's able to go on Sunday. It is a desperate situation for the Chiefs, as we'll discuss when we preview the game. Josh Simmons was limited on Wednesday with an illness. He was back to a full participation today, which is great. It's appropriate that he had an illness on Wednesday because he's sick.
Yes.
Everybody
made a
else.
sick tackle.
Exactly. Everybody else is a full go except for Jawan Taylor was limited on Thursday with a knee/ankle injury that
He's
popped
been
up.
limited for years.
Yeah, he's been limited for years, and somehow he keeps getting out there. So, you'd think with the backup tackle that the Chiefs have waiting in the wings that at some point they'd be willing to give him a go over Jawan Taylor, but they haven't done it yet.
Did we ever see how many snaps Jalen Moore got last week? I guess I never even looked to see if
No, I
he
didn't
got
see it.
in or spelled anybody. I'm looking
Yeah, I don't
right
know.
now, and no. He played 6 offensive snaps.
Oh, great. Good. Well, only because Jawan was hurt, obviously, and it seems like they are now. I will say this for Jawan Taylor, he at least was not the
He played for
penalty.
Simmons.
Yeah, at least he was. Oh, really?
Yeah,
After
Simmons had
he
4
rolled
fewer
his
snaps.
yeah, right, exactly. He had that little thing with his head. He got poked in the eye or something like that,
Yeah.
and was out for
Yeah.
6 snaps. And we were, of course, worried that he was going to be out for the year. And,
Right, of course.
Anyway, we'll never see Jalen Moore again. He's a figment of our imaginations.
That's right.
Another thing that happened on Sunday that you and I may or may not care about, but I feel like we have to drop on the show because it's become a sort of a source of fake outrage. There's a lot of that going around in the NFL and in our country right now. Several players, but prominently the future Mr. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, who has the ultimate microscope of all microscopes on him, had a free 4 t-shirt that had Rashee Rice on it. They were honestly, the design was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was a cool design. The Chiefs clearly have a good t-shirt guy. They had those amazing Spags We Trust t-shirts.
Yes.
They've got somebody
who's ready to go.
They've got a guy, and he's good at what he does. This generated controversy because obviously Rashee Rice is he's under suspension because he caused a car accident and he injured a couple of people, and he, accepted a plea agreement to a felony. But boy, the reaction of this got really out of control. I think it greatly exceeded, like, some people just take things too seriously.
Yeah,
like
they're ready to take things too seriously.
They are ready to take things too seriously, and especially when it comes to Travis Kelce because of who he's engaged to,
what team he plays for.
What team he plays for, absolutely. The things that he's done and said over the years, the podcast, everything like that. I mean,
his physical or his personal health decisions that he's made.
Sure, of course. That's right. That's exactly right. They do. All that to say that I really just think that this was blown all out of proportion by people that either hate Taylor Swift or hate Travis Kelce or hate the Chiefs and just wanted something to be mad about. Like, they clearly were just showing support for a teammate. It doesn't mean that they're being, was it a great idea? Probably not. I think, if it was up to me and somebody had given me the button that says you can either have the Chiefs wear these shirts on Sunday or not, I probably would have pressed the no button.
Now, let me ask you this. I think the whole reason that anyone could be upset at this shirt is the word free.
Yeah.
I think that if the shirt said like love for or just for, even if it was just like a Rashee shirt, it would have shown the support for the kid without. I think the connotation behind free,
people find free
is that he is being wrongfully imprisoned.
Sure, right.
And that's obviously, I don't think anybody would have intended that. I think if you ask the Chiefs, they understood. I mean, the players, they understand why he is in the position he's in and everything that went into his situation. It's just that, again, I agree with you 100% that it was blown out of proportion. I think people just were looking for a reason to be mad and a reason to be mad at the Chiefs and a reason to be mad at Travis Kelce. And that's what they latched onto. And they'll always do that. No matter what he does, no matter what the Chiefs do, they will find reasons to call this team despicable, horrible monsters. That's just what people do on the internet these days. But I do think a huge, kind of a huge relief would have been if it had not said free for. If it was any
Sure.
other phrase there, I don't think anyone could have gotten mad, although they would have.
They would have found a way.
Yeah.
Let's turn to, this is sort of interesting, caught my eye. A little bit of schematic news. And I say this caught my eye because number one, it came from both the head coach Andy Reid and the offense coordinator Matt Nagy. And it's also a little bit it's a little bit odd to see the coaching staff address any kind of sort of schematic or personnel decisions in this way. They both brought up the possibility of Mahomes playing under center more. Andy Reid had his press conference first on Tuesday, said that Pat's gotten more comfortable with working under center. They're working on it more. We haven't hardly seen it in games, hardly at all. But they're working on it more. He's getting more comfortable with it. And then, of course, they asked Nagy about it the next day, and Nagy said Pat will like it more if the running backs are running well from under center because the run game is the quarterback's best friend. Setting aside the fact that Patrick Mahomes has no best friends right now because the Chiefs running game is preposterously bad. He's his own best friend. He's the only good runner on the team. This is interesting. So KCSN's Matt Lane tweeted this out. The Chiefs are averaging 0.09 EPA per play from under center this year and negative 0.02 EPA per play from shotgun. Jeez. So that's a significant difference. It gets way more stratified if you look at pass. Plus 0.53 EPA per pass under center and negative 0.16 from shotgun. I mean, like that's a big difference.
0.6 or so.
I mean, like, so again, like we're talking about expected points added per play. So 0.53 EPA per pass is high. That's like every time we throw the ball, you score half a point.
Yeah, right.
And negative is obviously that's not
it's bad.
It's not good at all. It's not good at all. On runs, negative 6 or negative 0.6 EPA per play on under center runs, which is not good. It's way worse under shotgun. It's negative 3.7 EPA per A on shotgun runs. So if you just look at these numbers, like the Chiefs have had more success, both running and passing from under center. And both the head coach and the offense coordinator both brought it up in their press conferences this week and said, yeah, we're trying to get Pat more comfortable with it. It's a really interesting thing for them to put out there. And I'm not sure exactly what their motives are. I'm not sure if they're taking shots at anybody. Probably not, because it's a Andy Reid team. And, the person they'd be taking shots at would be the quarterback. And I'm sure they're not doing that. But it's interesting for them to talk about Pat's comfort level with it. Obviously, the Chiefs have not played under center that much at all in his career. But I don't know. It's interesting.
There's a couple kind of avenues I want to explore on this topic because I find it, like you said, very interesting. Number one is the general kind of approach that Andy typically gives to press conferences. And you're right that this type of discussion, any type of strategy or schematic discussion it's almost never happened. I mean, it's extremely rare. I mean, we can probably go back throughout his entire 10, 12-year career with the Chiefs and find 2 or 3 instances, and this is one of them. So that was noteworthy. Number two is that the concept that we're trying to get Pat more comfortable with it. Patrick Mahomes is a 30-year-old, 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback that, to my eye, it's not about comfort. It's not about the 30-year-old veteran quarterback not having a good feel for being under center. I think if you gave Pat 60 plays this Sunday from under center, he would look good. He would not be uncomfortable. It's a play calling error. It's a play calling and schematic and game plan mismanagement. In my opinion, I of course am a layman and have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. But when I have seen Andy Reid address these types of discussions, I just don't see him telling the truth. And I don't blame him for not telling the truth. I don't blame him at all. I just think that everyone needs to never take anything that he says at face value in press conferences ever again. Because, look, we've seen this with other discussions. We've seen it with holding the team accountable, and we're going to clean that stuff up. And we're going to be, I mean, anytime the Chiefs lose, everyone could do an Andy Reid soundboard. I love the guy. But you could do an Andy Reid soundboard about what he's going to say, and it's never going to matter. It's never going to be, oh, we're going to look at that stuff and we're going to clean it up. That doesn't matter. That's platitudes. That's fake air. But in this case, so that's the one aspect of it that I found interesting, was just that he actually did talk about some
Yeah,
type of
right.
decision making in that. So he heard barking from somebody, whether that was the media, whether that was his players, maybe. I don't know where he would have gotten the motivation to actually address that in a news conference. But the more kind of important point to this whole discussion is the perceived staleness of the West Coast offense. And
Yeah.
it's being perceived this way by pretty much anybody that watches ball at all.
No, we'll talk about this during the Joe, but yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly right.
100%.
And so maybe that is Andy's kind of, maybe he just feels the general pressure of his offense failing. His offense, absolutely, his play design, his play call, his players, his offense that has been the calling card of his career. He's an offensive genius. That's literally his superpower. And so maybe that's why he said this. Maybe he just feels like everyone's shitting on me for having a terrible offense, and I've got to come out here and be like, oh, I guess we could run a little bit more, but Pat's not quite comfortable under center yet. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was weird. I thought it was very weird.
I just have to give an update since we're recording the show, and you can cut this out if you want, but
No,
Miami did
won't.
tie the game against the Bills.
I have been watching that as well.
And
I thought that was.
did you see that they converted on a lateral, or they had 3rd and 14 and they got it to 4th and 4 with a lateral to HN?
I was not watching the play-by-play. I just saw the score go 21 all. So
Tyreek
good.
scored a touchdown. So somebody told Tyreek that if he wants to come to Kansas City, he's going to have to play better and
step up. Scored a 5-yard touchdown. That's a bomb for Tyreek these days.
Yeah, right, exactly. He almost came down with a bomb with Christian Benford in coverage, and I haven't seen how serious that injury is.
Now
Benford
this lateral was an ineligible downfield.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, ineligible downfield pass, 5 yards, and it was a 5-yard penalty instead of.
Oh, that's crazy.
So then they converted on 17 after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
One more item of news that we have to talk about, and that is the passing of a boy into a man. Patrick Mahomes turned 30 years old, and he is now in the same decade as us of his life. We will not be sharing that decade with him for too much longer, but a little while longer in any case.
Yeah, a couple years. A little bit.
Couple years, a little while. And, there's been a lot of, you can go on X or any kind of social media. You can see where he ranks in all the statistical categories. He's first in pretty much everything, even setting aside the fact that he didn't play for a year, right? Like he gave up a season in his 20s, and he still dominated everybody else statistically. Brady, Manning, Montana, and all of his contemporaries. And this is the point that I wanted to make. This is a point that you have made for a couple weeks now, but it really hits home with Pat turning 30. We talked about this with Randy last week. Like, his competitors in the AFC, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, if you want to throw Herbert in there, if you want to throw Stroud in there, Bo Nix in there, whatever.
Yep.
It's funny that I said Bo Nix because he probably will turn 30 in 2 years.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how old he is. I haven't looked it up.
He was 30 at Auburn, I'm pretty sure.
He was. He definitely was. These guys, the 3 big guys, Burrow, Allen, Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys have one more chance to win one Super Bowl in their 20s. And it's this February. Burrow's not going to do it because since the last time we recorded the show, he suffered a turf toe injury and he's going to be out for 3 months. There's almost no chance the Bengals make the playoffs with him being out that long, unless
I think he's going to be out for the year, even if they make it.
System QB,
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning comes in. But unless Joe Burrow comes back and wins the Super Bowl in February, he's not going to win a Super Bowl in his 20s.
No, he's 29.
Lamar, Josh Allen, they're both great. They're amazing. They put on a show in week 1. They're both incredible quarterbacks. One of them is probably going to win the MVP this year. And, it would not shock me if one of those 2 guys won the Super Bowl in February. Wouldn't shock me at all. And they're both great quarterbacks that probably will someday win a Super Bowl and deserve to win at least one Super Bowl. They are very good.
I agree.
However, they can't both win the Super Bowl this year, and they're both going to be 30 next year. So only one of those guys can win one Super Bowl in their 20s. And That's assuming that one of them does win the Super Bowl, which
Right.
to
Hasn't
date,
happened yet.
neither of them have even been there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it just goes to show you, like, is it kind of a little bit of arbitrary endpoints? Sure. Like, we're just talking about a decade of a person's life, and then another decade of a person's life.
Right.
They're not in the same season of their lives quite. Pat just turned 30, and then Lamar, I think, is in May, and Josh Allen is in February or March, I think, if memory serves. Burrow is actually this, or maybe next December. Anyway, point is, in the best case scenario, one of those guys will win one Super Bowl in their 20s. And
The
Pat
best
won
case
three.
for them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very obvious to anybody who zooms out of the NFL what the landscape still looks like. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are struggling and Mahomes is struggling. These other teams have struggled at points too. These other teams have gone through ups and downs and not looked like the best team in football. But the difference is that Pat went back to back when his team was struggling, and
Yeah.
these guys haven't even been to the Super Bowl. And now you look at, if you're talking about a race, a career accomplishments race between the big four. I understand the respect for Herbert, etc., but you really got to look at Lamar, Josh, Burrow, and Mahomes. And Mahomes is not even in the same room as those guys when you're talking about career accomplishments. I mean, Lamar has 2 MVPs, and that's basically and Josh has one, and that's the collection of awards or accomplishments for that entire group, other than Pat. And well, I guess Joe Burrow's 2-time AFC Comeback Player of the Year, AP Comeback Player of the Year,
Right.
and in fact,
Yeah, he's gonna have a chance for number
he's
3 next
he's
year.
running for number 3, and he's only one of 2 players that have ever even done it twice. You know who
That's
the other one
crazy.
was? Take a stab. Quarterback.
Philip Rivers,
No, AFC East quarterback.
Joe Flacco.
No, but that'd be amazing. No, it's Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington won it
Okay,
twice.
good. All right.
Once for injury and once for just he was bad, and then the next year he was good, and everyone. That was when people started talking about, like, hey, we probably should like have some restrictions on AP Comeback Player of the Year, and like I think these guys need to have been hurt. We can't just like say a guy was shitty like Sam Darnold and then just became good and that's Comeback Player of the Year. Like these guys have got to come back from something. Anyway. Yeah, the 4 quarterbacks, it's a big lead for Mahomes, even if things go perfectly for one of the other 3 quarterbacks. That the other thing I was thinking about, and what you were referencing me tweeting the last couple of weeks. Let's say one of them finally figures it out and wins 2 or 3 Super Bowls, right?
Sure.
Let's say Josh does, because his team is loaded and it'd be
Because
a
we
great,
like him.
because we like him a lot. And if Josh goes out there and wins 2 Super Bowls and then maybe doesn't get to one and then maybe wins one more and ties Pat in 4 years, well, then Lamar's going to be 34 with no Super Bowls, and Justin
Right.
Herbert is going to be 34 with no Super 3
Right.
or whatever with no Super Bowls, and Joe Burrow will probably be retired by that point.
Yeah, he's
And
gonna be running a used car dealership at
like
that point.
these guys are all in big trouble, even if one of them does it, because they can't all become Mahomes. They can't all do
Right.
it.
They can't all do it.
They
It's a
can't all
numbers
do it.
game at this point. It's a math
Yes.
problem for them.
He's already got it. I mean, in 3 years, Mahomes is still going to have the most Super Bowls among any quarterback in the league, even if he doesn't win another one, because of
Right.
how far out he is in the lead. It's crazy.
All right. Well, let's put a bow on breaking news and let's turn to the Job. Grief, optimism, blame.
Michael.
The Chiefs fell 17-20 to the Philadelphia Eagles in Kansas City on Sunday in a Super Bowl 59 rematch. And we'll start off with grief. I hope there's no Eagles fans that listen to this podcast. They
No.
probably aren't.
They
And
probably
this-
are. They're berserk.
Well, they are berserk, and they'll probably be tweeting about it tomorrow morning when it gets released. They're probably going to listen to it before you even release it somehow.
Yep.
They're going to be tweeting at us tonight.
Yep. They're here in my living room right now.
Here's the thing. The Eagles are our dads.
Yeah.
And the worst part about this is the Eagles are not even that good.
No.
Like, they didn't look that good on Sunday. They shouldn't have won the game. And they still beat us. And they made us look foolish. I mean, they talked their shit. You've seen the clips. I know you've seen the clips. I have not
course.
seen the clips, but I've seen the transcripts of the clips on the tweets that I refuse to click on and actually listen to. You've got Chris Jones out there, calling them
That's
out for
bad
running
luck.
the same play however many times
Oh,
in a row and stopping them, like saying, whatever, we stopped you. And then,
did you hear the context on this?
I
The
did.
so
I
for,
did. That was an
it
inside
was
zone play that they're
yes,
running,
I
not the
thought that
tush
was really
push.
interesting
It
that
was really interesting.
it got repackaged to be that they couldn't stop the tush push.
And
But
he
if it,
also said that, he's talking to his teammates and whatever. But the point is, the Eagles absolutely win the trash talk because
yeah,
they won on the scoreboard and they
yeah,
won by a shitload in the Super Bowl and they won by 3 on Sunday. And it doesn't matter. They won both games.
yeah,
And talk is cheap, like scoreboard always wins. And it
yeah,
just is, it's sad because while I really like a lot of players on the Eagles, Saquon Barkley is cool.
yeah.
Uh, I have AJ Brown on a couple of my fantasy teams. Love AJ Brown. He's a great player. Uh, I don't know how to feel about Jalen Hurts personally, or as a player, but yeah, the point is they have a lot of good players. There's been a lot of kinship between the organizations because of the Andy Reid connection, because of
And the
the
Kelseys, yeah,
Jason Kelsey connection.
yeah.
I really don't like Nick Sirianni and I don't like the Eagles. And it just makes me sad to have to acknowledge that the Eagles own us right now.
I have a secondary take to that, which I will bookmark for optimism.
Oh, okay.
So just keeping that in mind. I will say
All right.
when we're talking about the Eagles and our feelings towards the Eagles and towards this whole situation, um, I I do really like several players on the Eagles. I think Saquon's probably the most likable player on the team and one of the most likable players in the league. Uh, Jalen, to me, is very likable as a person. And I mean, just based on like the New Heights episode, I thought was great with him. I thought he was very genuine and a really interesting guy. Now, Jalen, the quarterback, is an enigma. He is a
Yeah.
guy that I can't figure out. And I wish I could figure out because a lot of these other guys, we just talked about the big four, and we didn't mention the only other guy that has a Super Bowl, basically, other than all the old guys, which is Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's the guy that could go rip off three in a row
right.
or whatever, and or that'd be four because he just did one, and would be a legitimate bona fide threat to Patrick Mahomes' legacy because he's actually gotten him when it matters, which is something that very few quarterbacks can ever say that they've ever done. And so but at the same time, as we know, he's also like totally trash. Like
Yeah.
he can't throw, but
Yeah,
sometimes
he was
he
bad
really
in this game.
can.
And he admitted that he was bad.
He admitted that he was bad, unlike the previous Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where everyone seemed to give him credit for a game in which he had the only back-breaking turnover in the whole game. They still thought that he played better than Mahomes because when it got to the goal line, they just give it to their giant quarterback instead of handing it off to somebody. Anyways. So I don't know what to think about Hurts, but it's not entirely negative. I really like Saquon. I think that some of their players are pretty cool. I don't know how to express how much I don't like Nick Sirianni. I think that he is the most punchable and the most immature and just downright unlikable head coach in football. And that's the same sport that has freaking Sean Payton as a head coach. And I would pick Sean Payton over Nick Sirianni 10 times out of 10. I mean, and I hate Sean Payton. But I just think that he makes them very unlikable. And then the biggest unlikable factor for the entire situation is obviously the fans. The fans of the Philadelphia Eagles are the worst fan base in sports. And I'm not even saying that because they're our dads and because they've just done what they've done to us recently.
Yeah.
I'm talking just years of this type of behavior and this type of reputation.
Oh, the data is irrefutable.
It's irrefutable. They are the worst fan base in sports. And so when you have all that and then that team becomes your dad's, that's a really tough pill to swallow. It's a really tough matchup for the Chiefs physically. And even if this team was likable, even so, like compare it to the Niners, right? Because we've had two very high profile matchups with the Niners. And although the Chiefs came out ahead in both of those, we got a firsthand account of like the Niners fan base and like their reactions to the Chiefs and their hatred of the Chiefs and all that stuff. And like I look back on those
Eric Fisher holding on
right.
Chip Wasp,
right. I look back on those interactions
complaining about it years later.
and they're adorable compared to
Yeah,
the
I know.
Eagles. They're
Sure.
adorable. I mean, it was just a total nothing burger for the entire and yet I mean, the Eagles will literally reply to Chiefs tweets with 40-6 and like all the stuff, and they just are obsessed with talking to the team that they beat. I've never seen a team be worse losers than Eagles. I mean, worse winners than Eagles fans. They're the worst. I hate them so much.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to grief? We're just
Well, that
sad that
was
we
kind of
lost to the
yeah,
Eagles again.
that was kind of my grief soapbox, was that how much I despise the Eagles and their fans.
It's terrible.
The 0-2 start is pretty rough. And
That's
that's
bad.
something
It's bad.
that,
It's
and
not good.
we are, of course, grieving the first 3-game losing streak in the Patrick
Ever.
Mahomes era,
It's crazy.
which is really tough. And especially with 2 of those games being against the same team and one of them being a Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
if this had been 3 in the middle of the year or whatever,
Sure.
it would have
we
been
came
like,
close
damn.
a couple of times. You
We
know,
did. We came very
2021, we had back-to-back horrible losses.
I
to
mean,
the
they were
Titans and
3
the
and
Bills.
4 in 2021. They lost
Right.
3 out of 4 2 times in that season.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was plenty of opportunity for this to happen. And I get it. The Chiefs have played with house money for a lot of these close matchups, and a lot of the, I mean, they could have easily lost 3 in a row last year in 3 games that they won in
Sure.
the blocked
Sure.
field goal and the Raiders. I mean, there were plenty of times, but I do mourn the fact that the Chiefs have never been in this low of a tailspin, and just vibes. I mourn the vibes.
Yeah.
The vibes have
are
been
bad.
I mean, as bad as they've been, worse than the 2021 vibes to me.
We'll talk about the vibes more because
Yeah.
I have some specific people to blame for the vibes.
Great.
But
Okay. That's it for me.
Let's turn to
on
optimism. And this is slightly different format from the MAC. The MAC ends
Yeah.
on Cope, which is a high note.
Yeah.
And that was necessary and proper last week when it was only an 0-1 start. It was just one game. We still had the Eagles game ahead of us, and you knew that we were going to celebrate the shit out of that if we had come out with a win
Definitely
on Sunday. But that didn't happen.
No.
So now we're going to talk about optimism, and then we're going to close by blaming, which would normally be what we would do at the second step, accuse of the MAC system. I do have some major points of optimism here. Number one, the defense was 1,000 times better than I possibly could have expected.
Yeah.
Like, as bad as they looked against the Chargers, like they looked like the worst they've ever looked under Spags, probably. I mean, like, just in terms of guys, like there have been worse games from I mean, the Eagles scored 35 against us in the Super Bowl, whatever. But like, there were guys wide ass open on every single play.
It looked like Bob Sutton.
They weren't getting any pressure. It did look like Bob Sutton. And this game, the guys looked like they knew what they were doing. And the front four was still bad. We'll talk about that on blame. But, Spags was way more dialed in. The blitzes were helping. They were occasionally getting home. But the secondary, after playing the worst game the secondary has played since 2019, the secondary was locked in. I mean, like, they held the Eagles to what, like a 40-something yards passing? I mean, like,
Jalen had 100, right? Wasn't that the whole?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He had 101 yards passing.
That's right. So they like held
Which is
them.
terrible.
It's terrible. I mean, in 2025, I mean, that would be a good game in 1945.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but in 2025, it's not that impressive.
No.
It's not that good. And that's with, like Jalen Hurts, again, like we keep coming back to this. Like, do I think Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback? No. I think he's sort of in the, I've made this comparison before, but I think he sort of reminds me a little bit of Lamar early in Lamar's career when, yes, he could beat you with his arm if you didn't take away his first read and, like you kept him in the pocket and, like Lamar could go out and drop 6 passing touchdowns on a terrible Miami Dolphins defense, right?
Yep.
But like, if you put him up against Spags would put him in a blender every single time. And the Chiefs have been fortunate to have a good record against Lamar. He's only beaten the Chiefs once, and it was in a game where the Chiefs would have won if Clyde hadn't fumbled the ball. And, I mean, like, they've had more success against him than pretty much any defense in the league. But Lamar clearly has dramatically improved as a passer and as a quarterback and as a processor.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts, I don't feel like is there. I feel like he's still early career Lamar, where if you get him off of his spot and you take away his first read, the offense and the quarterback don't have a lot of answers to that. And that came out in this game. But this is an optimism, not a slag Jalen Hurts thing. This is about the defense playing well. Like, I would not have expected, based on how bad they looked at this week, this is the absolute best case scenario for how well they could have played against a really good Eagles team that dropped 40 on them in February, 1 week after probably the worst performance they've had in years.
I think that's totally fair. I do think that the matchup of blitzing a ton, which is what Spags clearly the difference between week 1 and week 2 was, he was like, oh my God, I can't get any pressure without blitzing. It just can't happen. And so he blitzed a ton, and Jalen Hurts is a unique matchup that is, I mean, no quarterback likes to get blitzed a lot, but some of them will make you pay. And he is not, as you just described, set up to make you pay. He's set up. That's what every team should do against Jalen Hurts, regardless of your ability to play defense, is you should blitz him a lot. So that was a nice formula for the Chiefs to get right back on defense. But I saw more physicality. I saw more speed. I saw more coverage. I saw a lot better physical, just like vibes watching the game from defense than the week 1 was a disaster. And
it was so bad.
And I think optimism, we can look at the unique Brazil situation and the travel.
You can write it off.
You can basically write it off. You can't ever write any game off that anybody plays, but it was very clearly a factor. And how much of a factor it was, the Chargers are also a very good team.
They are.
They
had a great game plan. I mean,
and they were so motivated to play the Chiefs, or to beat the Chiefs. I mean, they are that's a big deal for them. I mean, Harbaugh said it was one of the most important games in Charger history, a week 1 game in September. I mean, that's how big of a deal it was to them. So, yes, optimism wise there, the defense looked really good, and there's optimism to believe that that's more of the trend moving forward. Now we'll see. Obviously, we'll talk about the matchup with the Giants this week and all that stuff. The bookmark that I put in the previous segment that I wanted to move to optimism was about the Eagles being the Chiefs' dads. And the only thing that I want to note there is that we do have experience with one team beating the Chiefs 3 times in a row in a pretty short amount of time.
Mm-hmm. We do.
And that did not go well for that franchise or the matchup with the Chiefs moving forward. Of course, I'm talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. And when they beat the Chiefs in the 2021 AFC Championship, that was about as low as this feels. That was really, really, really rough. And it felt like we'll never get over the hump with the Bengals, and they just own us. And there's, what is it about that matchup? Lou Anarumo owns Pat and all the stuff that we talked about. And then the next 3 times they played, the Chiefs all won, including beating them in AFC Championship. And so while it seems dark right now with the matchup with the Eagles, and while they are technically right now for sure our dads, there's some light at the end of that tunnel.
Let me throw another optimism out here. And
Please
I
do.
like that because the name of the show normally is It's Always Sunny in Cheese Kingdom, and it is always important to keep that perspective. And to be clear, the Chiefs did not play well in this game, and they were missing Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
And
Jalen Royals.
They probably should have won this game. We'll talk about that when we get to blame, because there's a lot of blame to go around for why they did lose this game. Optimism. Josh Simmons. No notes.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say?
He's a dog.
Not only was he the highest graded pass protector, highest graded player for the Chiefs in this game, and I think the highest graded tackle of the week from PFF.
I missed that.
In his second game in the NFL. But he also had that insane touchdown saving tackle after the interception in the end zone with Kelsey as the intended target.
He reached 18 miles an hour on that run
as an offensive lineman.
I think they said that was the fastest in the stat tracking era, maybe,
yes,
or that's
I think
baseball,
that is right,
or
at least in what is it? Next Gen Stats.
Next Gen Stats. Thank you.
It at least was the fastest in
a
like
while.
6 or 7 years.
Right.
If it wasn't the fastest ever, and Next Gen Stats has not been around that long, so it could be that when they said fastest since 2017, that actually meant fastest that we've ever recorded ever.
Right.
I mean, what an incredible play, and what an incredible player.
Athletic, and the mindset everybody talked about it afterwards. The Trav quote about it was really good on New Heights, where, like if they have that type of mindset by a young rook, a hungry mindset, a never give up attitude, like they'll be okay. They'll figure it out, like
Yeah.
if they use that as kind of a calling card of what they're going to try and be, which is just outwork the other team, because that should have been a touchdown. And 99 times out of 100, that is a touchdown. And
Sure.
instead, the tackle comes over from the far side. You remember that old Patriots Ben Watson play where it was like it was a
Yeah.
pick at the 1
Yeah.
yard line, and I forget now who the matchup was, but they were streaking down the sideline, and Ben Watson was at the far end of the one and ran the whole field and tackled the
Yeah.
guy down
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
saved a touchdown. They ended up turning the ball over and didn't even score. So it's a hustle play that will live on in infamy, and it was just a hell of a performance by him.
It's like one of those, offensive linemen, the highlight reels for an offensive lineman. It should just be,
Yeah,
you beating your guy and doing your job.
yeah,
If he
it's gonna
is,
be
if
yeah,
he's, getting into Canton 15 years from now, like
yes,
that play will be on
that's
the highlight
going on
reel.
there,
15
dude.
years from now,
That
25,
tackle,
25 years from now, let's
can
say.
you imagine getting tackled like that?
No.
That lumbering monster
Yeah.
running 18 miles.
Yeah.
That's like getting in a car wreck. I mean,
Yeah.
he lowered the shoulder and he took him out on the sideline. And I mean, it was a vicious, vicious play by him. Great.
It was incredible. What a player. What a play. Do you have any other optimism? Because I'm a little short on it today. I mean, honestly, like, I'm
you know,
trying.
yeah, I've been trying. I do think that
Oh, I got one.
okay, yeah.
Let me
What?
throw one in. I know
Okay,
you're thinking.
yeah,
I
you're
got
fine.
I got a really good
Please,
one. The Broncos lost.
yeah, it was good.
And
It was good.
they
Bo
lost
Nix
in
sucks.
hilarious fashion
Yeah.
where the
Oh my God.
Colts kicker, who had never
Yeah,
missed a field goal,
yeah. The
missed the game-winning field goal, and the
Chiefs legend
Broncos.
Spencer Schrader, not just
That's right.
Colts kicker.
That's right. Chiefs legend Spencer Schrader missed it was like a
60,
59. Yeah,
60.
it was a 60-yarder
Mm-hmm.
because the Colts, to be clear, played that last drive of the game absolutely
Awful.
horribly.
Blew it.
It didn't try to get any extra yards and just said, "All right, Spencer, go hit a 60-yarder."
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair,
They thought they had freaking Brandon
kickers are
Aubrey on their
doing
team.
all the time right now, but still,
Not
he
all of them.
misses it. Yeah, right, exactly. He misses it. The Broncos get called for a leverage penalty, and which, by
That
the
had
way,
nothing to do with the play.
it had nothing to do with the play, but it was a
It was
penalty.
leverage. Yeah,
It
was legit.
they were for like a day and a half before the all 22 came out. Broncos fans were saying like, "Oh, the league rigged this against us." And then the all 22 with the end zone camera came out, and they were like, "Yeah, all right, all right, yeah,
we'll take that one."
It's
Yeah.
leverage." So the Broncos are now 1-1, and as you mentioned, Bo Nix is like the lowest
Garbage.
graded quarterback in the NFL. Out
Mm-hmm.
of the 36 guys that have played quarterback already so far this year, he's
Mm-hmm.
dead last, despite having by far the best offensive line in the entire league, according to, grading and metrics through 2 weeks. Yeah, pretty funny. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty funny. Certainly anytime the Broncos can lose, that's reason to celebrate. I still go back to as hard as it is for us as fans to figure out what's going on and to see the path forward and to just kind of, I mean, it's tough. It's hard out there. It's just you do have the greatest quarterback of all time, and
Yep.
he is playing out of his mind. Now, it's not enough. It's been 2 losses, but this guy is just balling. He once again was, as we've talked about, the leading rusher on the team. He had 66 yards on the ground in this game and a touchdown, and was just willing them. And again, with no help around him, it seems. I still have optimism that a team quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes, I'd rather have that team than a lot of other teams out there. Now, it's about as you're testing that theory about as much as you can test it right now. But he's still pretty freaking good, and I am still very optimistic that our 30-year-old GOAT quarterback is still doing his thing.
Okay, let's go to blame here.
Let's blame some people. Yeah.
I want to start off with a little bit of analytics Hashtag analytics.
Mhm.
I have some less analytical takes that are more emotional that I want to get off my chest. But
Yeah, of course.
I saw a chart today, actually from at today's Seahawks, which is kind of fun. It's a little Seahawks fan put that together.
Yeah.
It is pressure efficiency on defense. So they have blitz rate and pressure percentage, and there are 4 quadrants in this chart. The upper left quadrant is more pressure with less blitzes, which is obviously great. That means that you're getting more pressure without having to send extra rushers. You're not having to blitz, which means you have more guys in coverage, and you're generating more pressure. There's more pressure, which is where the Seahawks are, which is why I'm sure a Seahawks fan made
Definitely.
this chart. There's more pressure with more blitzes, which is where the Broncos are. They're second in pressure rate in the league, and they're second in blitz rate. Then in the bottom left, you have less pressure with less blitzes. So they're not pressuring the quarterback, but they're not also not sending extra guys. You've got 7 or 8 guys in coverage on every play. And finally, you have the worst quadrant to be in, which is the bottom right, less pressure with more blitzes. You are taking guys out of coverage, sending them at the passer, and you're not actually generating any more pressure by doing that. The Chiefs are unfortunately in this quadrant, and they are second in the league. In fact, they're first in the league in blitz rate. Okay. Through 2 games. They're just ahead of the Broncos.
Week 2 had a lot to do with that.
Yes, it did. They're just ahead of the Broncos and the Dolphins, who are playing right now. So this is through 2
losing
games.
right now.
I know. Tua threw a horrible pick, and the Dolphins also committed a roughing the kicker penalty on the go-ahead touchdown drive.
Of course they did.
Just terrible.
Of course they did.
They had a 4th down, and then stupid teams are going to do stupid things and lose games in stupid ways. So the Chiefs are in this bottom quadrant. They are, to be fair, pretty close to middle of the pack in pressure rate, but they're by far the highest team in the league in blitz. I'm not by far. The Dolphins, Steelers, and Broncos are there. They're in the same, area as far as pressure rate, blitz rate. But that's not where you want to be. If you're blitzing more, you should be creating pressure at least at an above average rate. If you're the highest blitzing team in the league and you are below average in generating pressure, that's really not good at all. I mean, you're putting so much more burden on your secondary, and they played great on Sunday against the Eagles and 2 pretty good wide receivers. And, but the Eagles were missing Dallas Goedert in that game. The Eagles have a quarterback who we just talked about is pretty limited in the passing game. They have a new offensive coordinator, and, that team it's in a little bit of a funk. I mean, like, the big story coming out of that game was a lot of people saying, like, what's wrong with the Eagles offense? Because they were tired of talking about how bad we are, even after just 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're tired.
It's not good. It's not good. This is like you have Chris Jones and George Karlaftis making a lot of money. You have Charles Omenihu making a fair amount of money. I mean, it's not like it's not like you haven't invested into this front 7. It's not great.
Well, and this plot chart is a great example of, there's a linear correlation between the bottom left and the top right, because there's a linear correlation between blitz rate and pressure rate.
Yep.
If you're blitzing more, and you can see the very smooth bottom left to top right of the entire league, except for a few outlying teams. And, the Seahawks are a great example of the good side of that coin, which is that they are not blitzing, but they're still providing pressure. And that's the number one, in my opinion, way to equalize an NFL football game. If you're otherwise
pressure with 4.
If you can pressure with 4, you can do just about anything that you want on defense. And even though the Seahawks are 1-1 on the season, if you give any team a defensive line that can do that can pressure with 4, it's going to be a good team. I would look at this right now and say, if that keeps up for the Seahawks, they're in the playoffs, just based on that one number. If I don't know anything about how Sam Darnold's playing or anything about their injuries or anything like that, if they're pressuring with 4, they're in good shape. And then conversely, of course, is the discussion around the Chiefs. And if they are sending extra guys and they are not getting pressure, what is it you'd say you do here? What is your defense making difficult on the quarterback if they don't have guys on the back end to cover and they don't have guys in the quarterback's lap pressuring him? they're all just stuck in the wash in the middle of the line. The lines are erasing everyone that the Chiefs are sending at them, and it's creating mismatches and it's creating easy lanes, easy passing lanes. And I mean, again, I'd love to maybe see these 2 weeks split out, week 1 to week 2 for the Chiefs,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
that. I mean, I remember watching the Chargers game and they barely blitzed them, and when they did blitz them, it worked. I mean, Drew Tranquil had a sack, and they were, there were a couple times where I was like, "There's the blitz," but it was low pressure rate because of a low blitz rate. And then this week, obviously, was a cranked up to 11 blitz rate. They blitzed on, like, what was it, 60% of the snaps or something. I mean,
Yeah.
it was an absurd rate. And obviously the pressure rate wasn't high enough to get them cranked up the pressure chart here, but it probably, I mean, that you would think that it did some work on their pressure rate this last week.
It was definitely better this week than it was last
Yeah.
week, and against
So
a better offensive line. I
yeah,
mean, one of the best offensive lines.
absolutely. And you've got some, you're back at home, you're more comfortable. The crowd was loud. It's easier to blitz when you're on defense and the other team is yelling in the huddle to try and get the plays in and stuff. I mean, there's a lot, that made last week easy to blitz. And Spags knew it and took advantage of it. And we'll see how the trend, they're on the road this week. We'll talk about that. I'm not sure if they're going to use last week's game plan as like I guess we need to blitz a lot to be successful, or if they felt that was an Eagles specific game plan and they're going to go back to the whatever bullshit they tried against the Chargers that didn't work. I don't know.
I mean,
We'll
they are
see.
playing Russell Wilson this week, who historically is a guy that will eat sacks. And like,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
not super surprise me if that was something that they wanted to carry over,
Yep.
from the Jalen Hurts Eagles game plan.
Yep.
Let me hit you with another one here really quick.
Please do.
This is a broad one. I don't want to dwell on this a little bit because frankly, it really bums me out. People are coming around to the idea that the Chiefs offensive coaching staff is like, definitely not a screaming positive. I mean, for years we have been told that, Patrick Mahomes, well, yeah, he's great, but he has Andy Reid, right? Like, there's so much that Andy Reid is doing to help him schematically. Won't people take into consideration that he has this all-time great offensive head coach? And to be clear, he is that. Like,
Yes. Yes. He's earned that.
his resume is unimpeachable for what he's done in his career.
Agreed.
That being said, he's in his mid 60s. He has gotten into, I mean, Belichick was doing this right around the same age. He has gotten into sticking with his guys. When a hole in the organization needs to be filled, it is always being filled from somebody that's either already in the organization or who has been in the organization before.
Yeah.
So the offensive coordinator was Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy leaves. Matt Nagy, who was the offensive coordinator before Eric Bieniemy, comes back. I don't want to, and there's been some pushback. I know Mitchell Schwartz put this out there, that with an offensive head play calling head coach, what is the offense coordinator really doing? It's Andy's offense still. I get that. But I really liked a tweet that you had on Sunday, which was like, I don't know what Eric Bieniemy did, but clearly whatever he was doing was really important.
Yeah.
Because since he's gone, the offense has been terrible. Like,
yeah.
The point is this. There have been a lot of people this week, and I think, locally, our people like our friend Dan Harms have been talking about this a little longer than the national media has. But like, Nate Tice went off on the Chiefs offense this week.
Yeah.
And Steven Ruiz just had an article in the Ringer today where he was going off on the Chiefs offense.
Yep.
And people are finally coming around to the idea that this offense maybe is not cutting edge, that it is a little bit stale. And yeah, the top 2 wide receivers on this team are out. Yes, the running back room is bad, but like, I just like, this is really hard because, it used to be in the glory days, 2018, 2022.
I've been watching those highlights a lot.
Yes, we would watch other NFL games and we would say, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
I can't watch this
Let's
because
become the Chiefs.
yeah, it's not the Chiefs offense, right? Like this is so dumb watching these other teams try to do offense. What are they even doing? And now I watch an NFL game and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is a revelation." Like look at all these open receivers. Look at the offensive line being able to look at this running back that can get more than 20 yards on a carry. They can break a tackle. And man, that is a really tough position to be in as a Chiefs fan where like I'm watching, I'm watching the Bucks on Monday night against who did they play?
The Falcons? No,
The
that was
Falcons.
week one. That was week one.
Yeah.
Then Baker came back and Ibuka scored again, and it was against. I can see the game.
I can see the game. Oh, the Texans.
Texans.
Yes,
Yep. Monday Night Football. Of
the
course.
Bucks were playing the Texans.
Yeah.
And there was a long period in the middle of that game where neither of the teams was doing very much, but like that game was 14-10 after 4 drives. They both marched down the field twice and scored twice on the first 4 drives of the game. And man, it just looked easy for them. And like those teams, sure. I mean, like, yeah, the Texans have Nico Collins. Yeah, the Bucks have, Amike Buka and Mike Evans, who's a Hall of Famer, and they have 2 running backs who would be the best running backs that Mahomes has ever played with if they were Chiefs, like Rashad White and, of course, Bucky Irving.
How many running backs in the NFL would be the best running back Mahomes has ever played with?
Oh my God, dude!
Like 20?
I mean, well, so first of all,
who is the best running back? Kareem. 2018 Kareem. 2018 Kareem.
2018 Kareem was great, but also he didn't last the whole year.
I know.
And I mean, like, if we're saying like if we're giving 2018 Kareem like the whole credit, 2018 Kareem was pretty good. 2018 Kareem, if he still existed,
he was really good.
He'd be like at least like a top 10 running back in the league right now.
Correct. If what happened to him didn't,
so I think that's what fair, but like
didn't happen.
Yeah, right, exactly. But like, I mean, just off the top of my head, you have you could name Bijan, you have Saquon, you have Derrick Henry,
sure,
you have James Cook,
sure,
you have Devon Achane, you have, I mean, like you've got like
Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne and
like
Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall. I mean, it's literally all of them. There are so many. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving. Every team has a better running back than anyone that he's ever played.
Yes. I mean, the second best running back, if you take Kareem off the board, since we didn't even get a full, I think it's probably like Damian Williams.
Or Dame was
like,
awesome. Sure.
Or Jet McKinnon.
They're better than Pacheco for sure.
It just. Yeah. I mean, but those are like third down backs, right? Like that's what's telling. That's is like those are not. Yep. It does.
Yep.
That is tough. It just is really tough. Like 2018, we didn't win a Super Bowl, but it's the first season he goes out and throws for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns.
Pretty fun.
And at the very least, it promised us. Like this offense will always be fun as long as this guy's our quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
And here we are,
how little we knew.
8 years later and 7 years later, and it's not fun. It's not fun. And it's not fun for anybody. And like when it starts to leak out to the national media and you have people finally that are saying like, oh, yeah, maybe Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, I don't know, maybe they're not, I don't want to say washed. I don't like that word. But, maybe they're not actually helping Patrick Mahomes that much. And when you have people saying that, like, it's funny because I was watching Thursday Night Football before we started recording, and Al Michaels was talking about the Bills offense. Yeah, I bet you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Super
he
hard
said
shade.
There's some teams that are effective but
aren't fun
to watch.
But not fun.
That aren't fun to watch even when they're effective. And the Bills are effective and fun to watch.
What's really funny is that actually got taken as Eagles shade more than Chiefs shade.
That's funny.
Eagles and Chiefs, I saw both of them quote tweeting that and being like, "We see you, Al." And it's like, it was a mid-off on Sunday between those two offenses. And I think the whole discourse around Andy as both a play designer and a play caller has been really hard for non experts, and I
Sure.
mean experts,
Yeah.
experts,
Like people who are
to
deep into the
deep
film.
in the weeds and really who have like played with Andy, like Mitchell Schwartz. I would consider him an expert of Andy's offensive philosophies and the way that he designs plays and the way that the influence that Andy has on game days and all that stuff. I think a player that's played with him understands that impact. And I think unless you've been in that room, you just don't know. You have ideas and you have guesses and you have, roles that people have played throughout the time. Like, I mean, we always beat to death the mystery of the offensive coordinator position on this team entirely. I mean, we literally have no idea about, and we can't even trust if they said, oh yeah, this game plan was put together by Matt Nagy. It's like, bullshit. I don't really know if what you're
Sure.
saying there
Right.
it should be accurate. So that makes it hard to criticize, which is the whole design of the system. But the whole design of being mysterious about that is that Andy can always and has always, to his credit, taken the blame for the struggles on him, said, this is me, this is my offense. And when it's successful, that was EB and that was, Pat and that was Nagy. And that, he's always done that because he is a protector and he is a father figure and he is a person that is not going out there to try and steal credit from anyone or to pump himself up. I mean, that's just never been his thing. So when we try and analyze it and when we try and sit here and go, what is happening with this team and why is it happening and who's it happening from? Because it's just hard for us to wrap our heads around, okay, this is Andy Reid's fault or this is not or whatever. Now, that part of the equation aside, I think it's clear that their plan, whoever came up with the plan, whoever's been designing the plan, probably Andy, it's not working. It's not necessarily if it's good or bad. It's that it's not working. It's not successful in today's NFL. Some of that can be chalked up to the fact that it was so successful for a long period of time. And they became
teams plan to stop the
They were the preeminent offense in the league for 5 years. And by a mile. I mean, there were some fun teams and there were some good offenses.
One of the preeminent offenses in
of
the
all
history
time,
of the NFL.
of all time. Absolutely. Efficiency wise, explosive rate, everything. So because of that, you had an overabundant of defensive coordinators and defensive game planners trying to figure out how to stop the goddamn Chiefs and how to really design their team, not just the game plan, but the personnel and the scheme and everything to stop the Kansas City Chiefs. And you just see this tidal shift in the NFL from Chiefs being a step ahead on offense to the Chiefs being maybe right there, like 2022, 2023, really more 2022. I felt like the Chiefs were as good as anybody else, but not way better than anybody else. And then the last 2-3 years, it's been, all of a sudden, not only are the Chiefs not the best, they are like super bad. They like can't figure anything out. No, and they're not even mid, dude. They're like the lowest explosive offense. And like right now, I mean, they're really bad in every offensive metric. And it's because they just, number one, I think, as I said, people have caught up to the Chiefs and they've game planned against them. But number two, and probably the most important point that people don't emphasize enough, that it's talked about, but it's not emphasized, is like you can't build on top of the league forever. You can't, you don't have the resources by design. The league is better that way. It's much better than baseball or any of the other leagues where they just, you can stack talent and you can just run the league.
Meritocracy.
Ultimate. It's so good. It's
and
too
the
good.
Ultimate competitive environment.
Yes. And so you draft late, and if you don't hit, I'm not talking singles and doubles, I'm talking homers. If you don't hit really, really good talent with your late 28, 29, 32 pick, you're gonna fall behind. The salary cap means that the Chiefs cannot just buy talent. They can't just have more guys on their team than what the other guys have because they somehow earned it by being Super Bowl champs. No, everybody gets the same amount of money. And finally, of course, the first place schedule. I mean, the Chiefs have started off this year with the Eagles and the Chargers, and obviously the Chargers are a division game, but the only reason that they're going to go play these, I mean, the first place team in the other AFC divisions and the whoever the NFC first place matchup would be this year, it's not the Eagles because they play the NFC East. Point being, you get 4 extra games a year based on the position that you finished in the previous season. All of that adds up to it being a just hard mountain to climb as a dominant team. It's just really, really hard. And, we're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, the Chargers we play the Ravens, the Lions,
Yes, the Lions
and
are the NFC North team that we're playing because they were in
correct.
first place. That's right. That's right.
Correct. And then we also play
Must be the South. So the Texans
yeah, and
must be.
they don't play any of those teams.
Right. They play the second
They
place,
get
or were they second
yeah,
last year? They
they
must have
get the
been.
second place teams. But
Yeah.
the
So
second
they
place
get
teams
the
are,
North. Who was the
they get
second in
the
the North last year?
Vikings. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Vikings,
Right.
who had a negative point differential
Yeah. And their quarterback's hurt.
have a hurt quarterback. It's week
Hurt,
8
hurt
and
rookie.
a hurt essentially rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they have the Titans and the oh well, I
The
guess we play
AFC North.
everybody in the South. But
AFC
yeah,
North.
the AFC North, which is
So whoever was second last
the
year wouldn't have been the Bengals, was
Steelers.
it? Steelers. Yeah. So
I mean,
that's part of the
it's a huge gap.
equation.
It's a huge gap.
Huge gap. And then of course the Raiders and the Broncos are going to play even easier schedules than the
Yeah, of
Chargers.
course.
And yes, that's the DNA of the NFL. Yes, I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's perfect. I think that's the whole reason the league works. It's the whole reason. But boy, when you're number one, it's like it's the blue mushroom in Mario Kart. That's what it is. It's just a or blue shell, the blue shell.
Yeah. It's a great comparison. It was not the Texans, by the way, because we do play this out this year. It's the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
We play the Bills. We play the Bills, the Ravens, the Lions.
East. Yes.
They get the Vikings, the Steelers, and
whoever
else we said it was.
The second place in the East,
oh,
which would
sure.
be someone terrible,
East,
whoever it
which
was.
is somebody terrible. It's the Dolphins.
Any of those
Dolphins.
three. Okay.
The Dolphins.
So pretty
yes.
big difference.
Ravens, Bills, Lions, Vikings,
Steelers, Dolphins. Yeah, sure. Same
pretty
thing.
significant. Pretty significant. Yeah. Okay, I have one last one, and I've sort of been building up to this. This is, I would say, one of the hotter takes that I've had about the Chiefs in a while, and maybe ever. I don't want to hype it up too. Okay. I don't want to hype it up too much.
Okay.
It has to do with, obviously the leader of this team is Patrick Mahomes, and the head coach Andy Reid. Those are the leaders of the team. But if they're at the top of the pyramid, who are the next two guys on that list?
Brett Veach. Or I guess it depends if you're talking locker room or
on the field.
Okay.
The players. There's one guy on the defense and one guy on the offense.
I see. So Chris Jones and Travis Kelce.
That's it.
Of course. Easy.
So
two future Hall of Famers, two aging
future Hall of Famers, two guys that are now, I mean, they've been on
31
the team.
and 35.
They're the longest tenured guys on the team, like aside from the long snapper.
James Winchester.
Travis.
Yeah.
But, they're the longest tenured guys on the team. They have been, and in Chris's case, might still be, sort of up for debate still. They have been and might still be the best players on their respective sides of the ball.
Correct.
They're famous. They're like you said, they're both future Hall of Famers. The problem is this: neither of them have played very well.
No.
And not only have they not played well, you could argue that if you had to pick two guys that are most responsible for the Chiefs being 0-2, it would be Travis Kelce and Chris Jones.
I agree.
And
certainly Chris Jones blew the game week 1 and Travis Kelce blew the game week 2. I think that's
exactly. And Travis contributed in week 1 by injuring Xavier Worthy, and Chris contributed in week 2. By not
stopping the tush push.
Yeah, exactly. The defensive line didn't do that much. So here's the biggest problem with this is, like, certainly in any industry, someone that has the pelts on the wall that those guys have is going to be a leader for a long period of time, even when they're not necessarily at the top of their game. Like, I'll use my own profession, the legal profession. Like, if I were to, if it's 1995 and Alan Dershowitz is defending O.J. Simpson, okay, and he's on the Dream Team, and he is one of the best criminal lawyers in the country, right? He has a great run. If you were to look at Alan Dershowitz now, he is a laughingstock who is booking, speaking events on Newsmax to talk about how they should lower the age of consent to 14 because most people are having sex before the legal age of consent, and therefore
Jesus
the age of
Christ.
consent should be lower. And that's obviously a preposterous take. So the thing is,
Regardless of your political affiliation, by the way.
exactly right. This is not a political opinion at all. This is just that's a gross opinion to have, and it's a preposterous legal argument to make. The point is that Alan Dershowitz is washed, and no one would consider him to be a leader in my profession, the criminal law profession, anymore. Correct. He has now become a laughingstock. I'm not saying that Chris and Travis have become laughingstocks, but I do think that it's much harder to be the leader of your side of the ball when you aren't the best player, and not only are you not the best player anymore, but you are responsible for it, right? Like it is, and I hate to say this because obviously these are two of my favorite.
Those two to death.
They're two of my favorite football players of all time.
Yep.
But like, it's hard for me as a fan to listen to, like, I didn't want to listen to New Heights this week. I didn't want to go on to, and Travis dodged the media on Sunday. There was a lot of, scrutiny about that. Whatever. I don't care about that.
Of course there is.
I don't want to listen to Travis Kelce say it's on me. I take full responsibility for it. We know, dude. Like, we know it's your fault.
It's on you.
Like,
we saw.
And accountability is great, but like, you know what else is great is playing better,
winning football games.
Yeah. And that's what you really need to do to make the message land, right? Like, you have to do it. And at a certain point when you're not doing it, talk is cheap, we're back to that point again. So I think it's really, and I'll make one more point, and then I want to get your take on this, because we didn't talk about it. A lot of times we'll talk through takes before we get on the podcast. I'm hitting you with all this information for the first time.
Yeah, sure.
But I know it's a lot to process.
Yeah, it's not surprising at all. I mean,
it sort of harks back to me a little bit. And obviously both these guys were on the team. But after the first Super Bowl win,
I know what you're saying.
Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu were exactly right. Leaders on that team.
Yes.
They brought an attitude that was sorely lacking in 2018, and they remade that defense. And then
they got washed.
Those players were no longer good.
Yeah.
They started taking more criticism from the media.
Yep.
They started sniping back on Twitter.
Yep.
Their play started to decline, and all of those things that were valuable qualities when they were at the top of their game and made them leaders of the team were now actively detracting from their leadership ability and their ability to help the team win.
I agree.
I'm not saying that we're there yet.
No.
But I am concerned about the situation. Obviously.
So obviously, the degree, as you pointed out at the end, of Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, two of not only the best players in franchise history, but two of the best players in NFL history at their respective positions. Correct. Literally, Travis is probably the best tight end ever.
Yeah,
and Chris Jones is certainly in like a top 5, 6, 7 conversation on defensive tackles. I mean, he's been unbelievable. So they certainly have more, as you put it, pelts on the wall than guys like Honey Badger and the Shark. But the overall kind of mindset of like, oh, those guys that we used to rely on, we might not be able to rely on anymore, is starting to feel kernels of the truth in this situation. And what makes it harder, or at least makes it harder for the team to win, is that when they were winning, when they were really good, when they were doing all the cool stuff, part of and maybe the number one reason that they were, is because they had Hall of Fame level talent on their team, which lets you elevate above the crowd. It lets you, not every team has got Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, guys like that on their team.
Tyreek Hill, when Tyreek Hill was on the team.
Exactly. So when you have that, not just Pro Bowl, not even just all pro level talent, when you have all-time talent on your team at the same time, you can do anything you want. You can run the league. You can have a dynasty. You can go win 3 Super Bowls. You can go to 5 out of 6. You can do all that cool stuff because you now have a resource in a league that is set up to even out the resources. You have something that other teams do not have.
Right.
And when you take that resource away from the Chiefs, and now they're saddled with the success of the team, they're saddled with every team gunning for him, every team hating him and wanting to beat him, and not having a salary cap advantage and not having draft advantage. And now it's like, now we don't have talent advantage. That's a recipe to lose a lot of games. That's the Chiefs, what they look like right now, among everything else that they look like, is they look like a team devoid of talent. They look like a team that doesn't have the guys. And
Yeah.
like that's hard, that you can't overcome that in the NFL. I don't care how good your coaching is. I don't care how good your quarterback is, which we've seen. If you don't have guys to be able to go out and execute plays and to beat guys in one-on-ones and to pass rush and to do all the athletic stuff that these guys can do, you're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. And I don't know that the Chiefs are there yet, and I don't want to say that they're there yet, but like it's trending to them being there yet. And if
Yeah,
they're
it
there
doesn't.
yet,
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
no, it doesn't look good. So
It doesn't
yes,
feel good.
and that blame kind of can't go on anyone. Like, yeah, it can go on Brett Veach if you want to say that he doesn't have an above average hit rate on X, Y, and
Sure,
Z.
you
And
haven't replaced two Hall of Famers that
yes,
are two of the
right.
greatest players
Like,
of all time.
okay,
You
I
know,
guess if he's not perfect, then yeah, you can blame him. And I know people like to, you got to find blame and you got to try and blame somebody because that's what you are. That as a fan, you can't just sit there and say, well, we just going to throw our hands up and not hold anybody accountable. That's not what fans do.
right.
But, you can't expect Brett Veach to hit. I mean, he doesn't miss more often than other GMs. It's just that
No,
the people that think he does are only paying attention to Chiefs draft picks. And they're saying, oh my God, you drafted Sky Moore in the second. It's like, go look at that second round. Go look at every second round. Ever.
sure.
And
Right.
like, they're not full of hits. It's hard to hit on draft picks in the
And
NFL.
I mean, go look at Brett Veach's hit rate in the 7th round. And
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I
those guys are
guarantee
dogs.
you he has the highest hit rate in the 7th round of any GM in the league. Without
It's
looking at what
of
any other
course
GM
he
has
has
done,
to.
he has to. He has
Yes,
to.
and maybe he doesn't have any of the other rounds in the bag, but he certainly has the 7th round in the bag. And it just goes to show that sometimes, and this is kind of more me test driving this take for myself, but like sometimes you're just it's over. Like you
Yeah.
just can't do it. It's not
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
screwed up, and it's not
Yeah.
that you are to need to be fired, and it's not that your team is really just selling everything down the river. It's just that some people's time is up. And I'm not saying that the Chiefs' time is up, but like if it is time, I don't think anybody should be surprised about that. I don't think anybody should look at it and say, what happened? It's like, look
Right.
at the roster. That's what
Yeah.
happened. There's
Right.
no good guys left. They're
Right.
all, I mean, they're fine. They're good. They're okay football players, but there's no, they
And
used to have guys. They don't have them anymore.
It's simply, I mean, we've talked about this. The parity in the NFL is such you can't be the best team forever in the NFL. It's not
Nope.
possible.
Nope.
And even, like even the Patriots
Who
dynasty
missed the Super Bowl for 10 years.
the Patriots exactly. They won 3 out of 4, and then they didn't go back for 10 years.
Well, they didn't
And
win. They went back
they didn't
against
win.
Eli
They didn't win.
twice.
That's right.
They went,
That's right. They lost
Yeah.
to Eli Manning twice in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
which is
You're right.
worse than not getting
Which
there.
is
by
worse
the
than
way.
not getting there. Correct. They went 16-0 and then
Yeah. Didn't
lost
win the
Super
biggest
Bowl
game
to
that they,
Eli
I mean,
Manning as a
you
wild
know,
card that won 9 games or whatever.
I guess I haven't even thought about the parallel between the Eli Manning Super Bowl loss and the three-peat Super Bowl loss
Mhm.
because they're both like two of the biggest accomplishments you could ever ask for in the NFL.
Sure. Yep.
And we talked about, we talked about how big that was to get something on Tom and all that stuff. But the nature in which those games were both lost are so different, but in equally bad ways. Like I obviously if I went to the game, I would rather it be a last second play because that's kind of, you can at least have an entertaining
You
game.
can have some
like,
positive memories.
They're like 2 plays away from going 18-0. They like almost did it.
Yeah,
and that's, they got 99.99% of the way there and couldn't do it. Whereas the Chiefs almost got to the three-peat and then couldn't even get out of the first quarter. So it's all just, it's varying degrees of suck. But yes, if you compare them to the Patriots, they never even, they had 2 dynasties. They are not one.
So this is what I was going to say. This is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And this is almost going back to optimism. And then we'll talk about the
We are in optimism. So
we'll talk
about,
no,
we're in B. We're in
blame.
Yeah, that's right. I
We're
forgot.
deep into, we're so deep into
we
blame that we're back to optimism. So you are right. There are actually 2 Patriots dynasties.
Yeah.
But because they are stitched together by one quarterback and one head coach.
Yep.
And they
And with no dynasty between them, if the
Exactly.
Chiefs had done this
Exactly.
between the two of them, we'd call them two different
In
ones.
any sport, like
Yeah.
my NBA team, I don't really follow the NBA
Yeah,
anymore.
Spurs.
Like I
Of
was a
course.
Spurs fan.
Yep.
Spurs won 3 in 6 years, and then they
Mhm.
took 4 or 5 years off, and they tacked on one more with Tim Duncan and
Yeah.
Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and Greg Popovich,
Mhm.
and that gets tacked on to the Spurs dynasty, even though it's kind of, like the best player on the last Spurs championship team was Kawhi Leonard. It wasn't any of the big three.
Right. Right.
And he's still in the league, and the other 3 guys are retired.
Well, he's still in the league for now. He's in some hot
Yes, yeah,
water.
it's a very good point. That's a very good point. He might not be in the league for that much longer, but the point is, the team had transitioned a little bit into a new era, but because it was close enough in time and there was enough consistent DNA in there, it's all part of the same dynasty. And the Chiefs
Mhm.
can still do that.
Mhm.
It's just at some point they're not gonna go to the Super Bowl every year.
Oh, what? Yeah, no, you're right. It's a hard pill to swallow. And look, if they go this year, we're not going to sit here and pretend that, we are completely shocked by that development. Like they
No,
still
no.
have the ability, like the Undertaker, to rise from the dead and
I mean, this
to
is the worst the team is going to play all year. I would
better
say the
be.
first two,
I
well,
mean,
exactly. If it's not, they're not
they're
going to be in the
cooked.
playoffs. And
No.
yeah, exactly right.
But
We're not gonna
no,
have to
I
worry
mean, even though we will never look at this team and count them out, we have seen time and time again, season after season, to not count the team out. But what we are saying is that it is not sacrilege to think about the possibility of things not being all sunshine and roses. Like
sure.
it's so funny to hear fans think that if you don't say everything positive about the
Yeah,
team that you can
it's
possibly think of, that you suck as a fan. That fandom to them is the fanatic part of it. The like, you just have to be a sycophant and be a diehard and just not care about reality or
a cult.
facts,
You have to
or
be in a cult.
you have to be in a cult. And maybe some of them are into that. Maybe some of them really like to be a member of a cult and they just use Chiefs Kingdom as part of that process. But for us, for people that live in the real world, it's not a betrayal of the team that you love to think like, well, what if they're really not that good?
Right.
Like that's not a betrayal. That is looking at the whole picture and analyzing it for yourself and trying to determine if what they have is good enough. And then if they surprise you and if they go on a big run and they win, great. We're happy. There's no loss in that. But it's just I can't believe how many Chiefs fans are completely unwilling to talk about the potential of maybe them not being the greatest team right now. Like it's exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, even Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. Tom Brady missed the playoffs.
Yeah, he
he
did.
missed the playoffs one time in a season that he was healthy.
Yeah, and then he got hurt.
And
And then
exactly. Then he missed the playoffs
missed
again
another.
because he was injured. He missed the playoffs 2 times in 23 seasons.
Mhm.
So, like it can happen. 22 seasons as a starter, missing the playoffs twice. Like if Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time, he's probably going to miss the playoffs once or twice. Let's move on from this because this is starting to bum me out. I know.
Me too.
I didn't like doing the blame last. But listen, the point is
blame Job for that.
We've sort of exactly. Damn it, Job. We've sort of reached the acceptance stage already. That being said, we do have a game on Sunday.
We do.
It's Sunday Night Football. Featuring the 2 best dual threat quarterbacks in the game, the only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL who are currently leading their team in rushing, Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson.
Of course, 2
facing
30-plus-year-old quarterbacks, by the way.
Yes, exactly. 30-plus-year-old quarterbacks leading their team in rushing. Pretty amazing stuff when you think about it that way. I'm sort of less interested in breaking down this game, especially after everything we just did with the Job, than just talking about what this game means.
Yeah,
I said it in the intro. I really truly believe that if the Chiefs lose this game, they're not making the playoffs this year. And I just don't, that's to me, that opinion is, there's 2 bases for that opinion. Right. One is that if you lose to the Giants, who are
0-2 also,
0-2 also, and sure, they gave the Cowboys a great run, but they needed a lot of very low percentage plays to go their way, even to be in that game. And the Cowboys probably are not very good. That's one part of it. If you lose to the Giants, you're probably not that good. And the other part of it is if you're 0-3, man, even with 7 playoff teams, the math just gets so tight at that point. Like it just gets really tight. If you have 3 losses, I mean, you need to go at least 11-6
I think
to
10-7.
guarantee a playoff spot.
Yeah. Yep.
10-7, 10-7 can get you in,
But
but
you could
then
also miss it with that.
you're going to be into tiebreaker situations
Yes,
there.
correct.
And you need 11-6 to guarantee it. I mean, that means you are going 11-3 over the remaining schedule, which includes Baltimore Ravens. It includes a pretty feisty Jacksonville Jaguars team in Jacksonville without Rashee Rice. All these games are without Rashee Rice. Ravens at Jags, Lions. Shoot, you could lose all 3 of those games. Those are all tough games.
Especially if you just lost to the Giants. Any losses on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have the Washington Commanders in week 8. You have the Bills in Buffalo in week 9. You have to play the Broncos twice. You have to play the Chargers again. You have to play the somehow incredibly hot Indianapolis Colts.
Indiana
you
Jones.
Have to play the Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Texans. The only games on the schedule, you have to play the Chargers again. The only games on the schedule, even from this week on, after the Giants game, that you think are like gimmies, are you get the Raiders twice and you get the Titans.
The Titans with number 1 overall pick Cam Ward.
That's right.
Who knows it by week 17?
By week 16,
when you're player 16.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, these are tough. This is a tough.
And a
schedule.
feisty defense. The point is, if you're 0-3, like I understand, and this again, like I don't want to be, a storm cloud on a sunny day, but like the people that have told me, I have this thing where I try and reverse jinx things, and sometimes it's just my real take, and I'm hiding behind a facade of, people will not take this seriously. But I said during the game on Monday, in an attempt to give the Raiders a little boost, the Chargers are going to sleepwalk to the division. I mean, they might.
Yeah.
If they beat the Broncos this week and they're 3-0.
Yeah. 3-game lead.
I don't know, man. I mean, we already talked about the difference in the schedule. Like the 3 games that they play should all be easy wins for them. And the 3 games that we have different from them, those are the 3 hardest games on the schedule for us.
Correct. Yep.
Bills, Ravens, Lions.
Yep.
So, like if they win their 3 extra games and we lose our 3 extra games, they have a 5-game lead. And then the rest of them are just common games.
And they've already got a win over us, so you can't even catch them, tiebreaker wise. I mean, it gets late early if that's the case. If you can't beat the Giants in week 3 and you can't avoid an 0-3 hole. I mean, look, there's a reason why they say 0-2 teams have a 12% success rate to make the playoffs. And granted, that's been before the expansion for most of that.
And
since
it also,
the expansion,
most 0-2 teams are bad. So
yes, correct.
I mean, that's the biggest thing going on with that stat.
5 out of 12 teams that have started 0-2 have made the playoffs. So it's slightly under 50%, but it's not, 12%. But the problem is when you say if you're 0-2, most 0-2 teams are probably bad. There's no guarantee that the Chiefs are not bad. I mean, there's a lot to be concerned about with this team, as everyone has talked about ad nauseum last week and this week. It is not like, there's the one optimistic positive spin on the season that you can at least squint and say, if they get through these Riceless games, 3-3,
right?
If they can somehow go 3-1 against Giants, Ravens, Jags, Lions, which certainly means you can only lose to one of the Lions or Ravens, and you have to beat the other one, and then you have to beat the Giants and Jags. If you can do that, you get your receiving core right. Maybe one tide lifts all boats or whatever. I mean, maybe Rashee and Worthy coming back into this offense is enough to get the explosiveness back, to make the defenses sag off on the pass, to make the running backs be able to get a little bit more room.
And maybe they add a running back. Maybe they trade for a running back. Maybe they trade for Tyreek Hill.
Sure, absolutely. Maybe they do something with, just their general lack of explosiveness. They need some juice. And if they can figure that out, then we're back. And we'll never have been more back than the moment that they trade for Tyreek Hill. We've talked about how that is like the shining savior of the season.
It's the salve that heals all wounds, buddy.
And I know anybody out there that's listening to this is groaning if you don't think that Tyreek Hill is a solution, or if you think that he's too much trouble than he's worth, or whatever. But just hear me out. A a bomb to Tyreek Hill. That's all I have to say. Like a touchdown, a long touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. If you're telling me that doesn't get you back on the hype, the bandwagon, like you don't have a pulse. I don't know what to tell you. That's as good as it can possibly get. And I mean, maybe they'll do it.